What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Classic Chronicles. I hope you guys enjoyed my last episode where I reviewed Ric Flair, the Ric Flair documentary, Woo, Becoming Ric Flair. If you haven't checked that out, please do. But man, we're gonna talk some more wrestling. I know you're probably getting sick of it by now, but there was a lot of wrestling to cover during my break, and this is not a documentary we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about a WWE live event that took place last Monday night. So December 26th, the day after Christmas, basically, from Madison Square Garden. We're gonna talk about that. So it was pretty fun. It was a SmackDown branded event. Usually Raw comes to town when they do when WWE does their holiday loop, but I guess the WWE decided to run with SmackDown this time around for the WWE live tour in New York, here in New York. So yeah, it was pretty damn fun. I actually saw Sami Zayn when I was waiting outside the building, and he said what's up to me and the rest of the crowd. Real quick before he had to run inside, but that was pretty damn cool. But as for the action, man, I'm just gonna briefly break it down, man. So, on the opening contest, you had the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus and Ridge Holland. They took on Imperium. What do you call it? Ludwig Kaiser, formerly known as Marcel Bartel, and Giovanni Vinci, known as Fabian, formerly known as Fabian Eichner. Um, so yeah, no, that was a fun opener. Sheamus and Ridge Holland really played to the crowd and ended up getting the win. After Sheamus hit the bro kick on Ludwig Kaiser. Um, and I'm probably gonna do the next matches will be out of order because I don't remember the exact order of everything. But yeah, man. So then you had then what do you call it? Next up, you had well, from what I remember, you had fuck. Let me see. I think okay. Yeah, you had Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt. No, first Jinder Mahal came out to cut a promo and said, there's gonna be a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, a fatal five-way ladder match which took place later on during the card at Madison Square Garden, and Jinder felt disrespected that he was left off that match, so he basically challenged anybody in the back to uh, to take on him, and out came Bray Wyatt, and I feel so blessed that I got to see Ray's in ring return. I caught his entrance, but I didn't keep my iPhone camera rolling because I thought he was just gonna do an in ring promo. I had no idea that he was gonna wrestle. So that was a very welcome surprise. That was his first matchup since he came back to the company. Um, After being released in last year, no, in 2021, I should say. Uh, yeah, so he defeated Jinder Mahal in about maybe 5 minutes in very quick fashion. What I did know is he ended up he accidentally broke his finger during the match. I couldn't see what happened from my vantage point because I was pretty high up, but I did see later on that he did break his finger. But he seems to have recovered quite nicely. So yeah, and that was pretty cool. He did Bray also did hit his best friend Brody Lee, Jonathan Huber. His signature pose during the match because Bray just happened to return to the ring 2 years after the passing of Brody Lee, to the exact date. Lost him on December 26, 2020. So that was a nice, beautiful tribute to Brody Lee. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. That was a really nice tribute. And man, it was like I said, it was such a treat to watch a Bray Wyatt wrestle. Um, and then next up from what I remember, you had Hit Row, Ashanti the Adonis, and Top Dollar taking on Legado de Fantasmas, Cruz del Toro, formerly oh man, I forgot his formerly I forgot his name. Forgot his name. Um, I forgot his name, but Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wild and DJZ from his TNA days. But man, that was an entertaining match. Hit B Fab and Zelina Vega were on the outside and they got involved. Actually, no, it was a six-person tag match. I'm bugging. It was a six-person tag match. So it was Hit Row taking on Legado de Fantasma. All three members of the remaining three members of Legado de Fantasma because Santos Escobar was in the Fatal Five Way ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, which I'll get to in a second. So yeah, no, pretty fun match. Mostly comedy, but Hit Row ended up getting the win, and thank God Top Dollar didn't attempt any craziness. Like he did on SmackDown the prior week, and that didn't turn out well for him. He tried to launch himself over the top rope, but failed miserably, and it's safe to say he won't be doing that for a while. Uh, but anyway, yeah, this was a fun match, um, and yeah, so let's get to the aforementioned Fatal Five Way ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. So you had Santos Escobar, you had Shinsuke Nakamura, you had Kofi Kingston, and one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Kofi Kingston, I should say. Um, you had Madcap Moss, who replaced Ricochet, who was supposed to be in that match, but it was pulled from the match for whatever reason. And you had Gunther, formerly known as Walter, defending the Intercontinental Championship. Uh, very, very fast paced. And Shinsuke Nakamura was in that match. Very, very fast paced, very fun matchup. Uh, Santos Escobar legitimately ended up getting injured. He looked like he tweaked his knee, so the referee threw up the X and took him to the back. I hear he I hear he was okay after. So shouldn't whatever injury he had seems to be a minor injury, and thank God for that. You don't want to see anybody get injured when they're doing this. Gunther ended up retaining the championship and getting the win in that Fatal Five Way match. And I believe all three members of Imperium made their Madison Square Garden debut, so that was a special night for them. Uh, so yeah, and then we brief intermission, and then kicking off the second half of action, man. You had Karrion Kross taking on Drew Gulak. Um, uh, Taking on Drew Gulak, and you know, surprisingly, the crowd wasn't into this match because these two, I believe the crowd was chanting, "This is boring," because people actually wrestled, and a lot of people want to see a lot of high spots and people jumping around and like like you know jumping around and doing these high risk maneuvers and stuff like that. But wrestling is cool too. Like I'm kind of old school. I'm a wrestling purist. So anytime you get two people in there that can go and that can wrestle, like Drew Gulak and Karrion Kross, and today's wrestling fan is really not gonna like that. But for me, I found that match very entertaining. Very entertaining. Despite what the rest of the crowd was chanting. Karrion Kross ended up getting the win with the his cross jacket submission, which is a rear naked choke, or a and chicken wing combination. Uh, so yeah. Then you had New York Street Fight. You had Liv Morgan taking on Shayna Baszler. These two, typical match. They had been working against each other on the recent house show loop, and Liv Morgan tried to do her signature senton through a table, but the table didn't break. Yeah, that was kind of a ouch moment. But Liv seemed okay. And yeah, she got the win over Shayna Baszler in the street fight. And okay, and then after that, it was main event time, man. So uh, the main event was the main event was it was supposed to be an 8-man tag match where it was supposed to be Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre taking on the Bloodline, Sami Zayn, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa. But that match got changed, and it ended up being. It first started off as a one-on-one match between Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn, but that match was quickly interrupted by Solo Sikoa, who ended up attacking Braun Strowman, and Kevin Owens came down to make the save, and which it ended up turning into a tag team match. It was Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman taking on the Usos, and and so Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman ended up getting the win, to send the crowd home happy, man. Uh, Overall, it was a good event. The crowd was pretty okay all night, with the exception of that one match, Karrion Kross versus Drew Gulak. Like I said, the crowd loved Bray Wyatt. And the crowd, even though Roman Reigns was not on the show, it was still decent. Having the Bloodline, Sami Zayn there, and the Usos, they're definitely carrying it for the Bloodline, since Roman is on a lighter schedule, so they're definitely carrying it for the Bloodline, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, it was a good match. It was a good show, and the WWE will be back in town February 13th. This time for Raw, but that'll be in Brooklyn, and then they'll be back at Madison Square Garden for a Super Show, a Road to WrestleMania Super Show, March 12th, which is a Sunday, I believe. So lots of WWE coming up, and I'll be at both of those events. So definitely look out for reviews on those. But that is gonna do it for this episode of the Classic Chronicles, man. Like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.